Beloved, hear me when I say this. October 22, 2025 will not be a normal day. Heaven has already written it into the archives of time as a day of divine reversal, realignment, and revelation. God has circled that date in eternity and whispered to the angels, "Get ready, for something extraordinary is about to unfold." This is not just another date on your calendar. It is a divine appointment that has been scheduled long before you even knew to pray for it. While you were questioning, wondering, and waiting, heaven was orchestrating. God has been aligning people, places, and opportunities so that at the right moment, everything would converge for your breakthrough. You see, we often think of time as something linear, something that just moves from one day to the next. But God operates outside of time. He steps into time to manifest his eternal will. There are moments when heaven interrupts history, moments when the natural bends to the supernatural. And this, my friend, is one of those moments. October 22, 2025 is a Kairos moment, a divine intersection where heaven's plan meets your obedience. God has been preparing the atmosphere. The heavens are pregnant with promise. What has been delayed is about to be delivered. There's a shifting taking place, a realignment that only those who are spiritually attuned can discern. The world may look at that day as ordinary, but for those who walk in the Spirit, you will sense it. You will feel the weight of destiny stirring, the power of purpose rising, the energy of expectation filling the air. Some of you have been walking through a long night season. You've been faithful, but tired, obedient, but weary. You've been asking God, when will it happen? When will things turn around? And the Spirit of the Lord is saying, I have not forgotten you. I have been preparing you for this appointed time. The tears you've cried have been watering the soil of your breakthrough. The prayers you've prayed have been building momentum in the unseen realm. Heaven has not been silent. It has been active. Angels have been dispatched. Paths are being cleared. Every obstacle that once stood before you is being rearranged by divine order. So when I tell you this will not be a normal day, understand what that means. It will be a day of divine manifestation. What you couldn't accomplish in years, God can do in a single moment. One encounter with the favor of God can shift your entire trajectory. One divine yes from heaven can unlock doors that no man can shut. October 22, 2025 is a day marked for miracles, and you have been chosen to be part of it. This is why you cannot afford to be distracted or disheartened in this season. The enemy knows what's coming, and he will try to derail you with fear, doubt, and discouragement. But remember this: before every great move of God, there's always a great shaking. The chaos you feel is not punishment, it's preparation. God is uprooting what no longer serves your destiny so that he can plant something new, something powerful, something enduring. So lift your eyes and steady your heart. This is not a time to retreat. This is a time to rise. Heaven is speaking. The Spirit is stirring. God is declaring over your life that your waiting has not been wasted. October 22, 2025 is a divine summons, an invitation to step into the fullness of what he's been preparing all along. When that day dawns, you will know this is what all the pain, all the prayer, all the persistence was for. You were being prepared for such a time as this. When God reveals that a specific day carries divine significance, he's not just giving you a date to mark on your calendar. He's calling you to prepare your spirit for what's about to unfold. Preparation is the evidence of expectation. You can't step into what God has ordained for you if you haven't aligned yourself to receive it. Every breakthrough requires preparation. Every miracle demands readiness. Before God releases a new season, he first ensures that his people are positioned to sustain it. This is why your obedience in this hour matters more than ever. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for positioning. He's asking you to posture your heart in faith, to clear the clutter, to make room for what he's about to do. Too many of us are praying for the promise, but living unprepared for it. We say we want God to open new doors, but we haven't cleared the space to walk through them. We want promotion, but we resist the process that prepares us to carry it. We want blessings, but we hold on to habits that block them. Preparation isn't always glamorous. It's the quiet work behind the scenes, the discipline, the prayer, the fasting, the forgiveness, the letting go of what no longer fits your next level. It's choosing obedience even when it's inconvenient, and faith even when there's no visible sign of change. When Noah built the ark, there was no rain in sight, yet he prepared as if the flood was coming tomorrow. That's the kind of faith God is calling you to in this season. Prepare as though your miracle is already on the calendar, because it is. Some of you are standing in the hallway between promise and manifestation, and you're wondering why the door hasn't opened yet. But God is saying, I'm not withholding it. I'm preparing you for it. There are some blessings that require maturity, strength, and spiritual grounding to sustain. God doesn't want you to just receive it. He wants you to keep it. He wants you to steward it well. That's why this is the season to sharpen your vision, renew your mind, and fortify your spirit. Faith without preparation is fantasy. You can't pray for rain and not build a cistern to catch it. You can't ask for abundance and still think like lack. You can't expect elevation and still operate in fear. Every great move of God begins with someone who decided to act on faith before the evidence appeared. This is your call to move from wishing to working, from waiting to walking in obedience. And let me tell you this, when you prepare, heaven notices. When you make room, God fills it. When you sanctify your time, your focus, your heart, God multiplies your efforts. That's why this season is not about activity, it's about alignment. You can't carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's miracle. You can't walk into divine timing still clinging to expired seasons. The Lord is saying, I'm doing something new. Can you perceive it? This is your moment to prepare spiritually, mentally, and emotionally for what's ahead. Clean the altar of your heart. Release the people, the patterns, and the pain that no longer serve your purpose. Get your house in order, your spiritual house, your emotional house, your physical house. God is looking for vessels that are ready, not vessels that are distracted. You cannot afford to let weariness rob you of readiness. When God calls your name, you must be ready to answer, Here I am, Lord. When the window of opportunity opens, you must already be in position to walk through it. That's what preparation does. It places you at the threshold of divine destiny. And when October 2025 arrives, it will not be the time to start getting ready. It will be the time to already be ready. Because what's coming is not small, it's not average, it's not ordinary, it's supernatural. And only those who have prepared will be able to handle the weight of what God is about to release. When God decides to move in your life, He doesn't operate within the boundaries of what's comfortable or familiar. He shakes the ground beneath your feet so you can no longer stand in the same place you've always been. Breaking free from normal means breaking free from every pattern, every limitation, and every mindset that has kept you confined to mediocrity. God never called you to live a life that's average. He called you to live a life that demonstrates His power, His glory, and His favor. And sometimes to bring you into that extraordinary life, He has to disturb the ordinary. There comes a time when normal simply won't do anymore. The routines that once made you feel safe will begin to feel restrictive. The people who once comforted you will no longer understand you. The places that once felt familiar will no longer fit your spirit. That's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that God is stretching you. He's moving you out of what's predictable so He can position you for what's possible. When God begins to move, He doesn't consult your comfort zone. He challenges it. Some of you have been asking God for more, but you're still trying to keep one foot in the familiar. You're praying for new blessings while clinging to old patterns. But the Spirit of the Lord says, you cannot enter the new while holding on to the old. What's ahead of you requires a different version of you, a version that dares to believe for the impossible, that isn't afraid to step out of the boat, that isn't defined by past failures or past fears. When Peter saw Jesus walking on water, he had a choice: stay in the safety of the boat or step into the supernatural. He chose to step out, and that one act of faith forever changed his destiny. Breaking free from normal means trusting God when logic doesn't make sense. It means saying yes even when you don't have all the answers. It means being willing to look foolish for a moment in order to walk in favor for a lifetime. Every person God ever used had to break away from something. Abraham had to leave his homeland. Joseph had to leave his family. Moses had to leave the palace. David had to leave the pasture. Jesus had to leave heaven's glory to redeem the world. There's always a leaving before there's a lifting. The challenge is that breaking free hurts. It means letting go of control. It means walking into the unknown with nothing but faith as your guide. It means surrendering what you thought your life should look like so God can give you something far greater. But if you stay stuck in the familiar, you'll miss the miracle. If you keep clinging to normal, you'll forfeit the supernatural. You can't fly if you're afraid to leave the ground. You can't evolve if you refuse to release the old version of yourself. God is calling you out of routine religion and into radical relationship. He's calling you out of comfort and into calling. He's calling you out of survival and into significance. You were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. You were not designed to live under the limits of what's been done before. You were born to redefine what's possible through faith. So when God begins to disrupt your normal, don't resist it. Rejoice in it. It's a sign that He's moving you forward. The shaking is not punishment, it's promotion. The discomfort is not rejection, it's redirection. Every disruption in your life is a divine setup for elevation. You might not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that what felt like loss was actually liberation. What looked like an ending was actually the beginning of something new. You are stepping into a divine season where normal no longer applies. The rules are changing, the pace is quickening, and heaven is aligning things on your behalf. God is taking you beyond what you thought possible. He's breaking limits, stretching capacity, and expanding your territory. What once felt impossible will soon become inevitable. Don't cling to normal. Embrace the new, because when God decides to elevate you, He first disrupts everything that kept you grounded. Faith in the face of uncertainty is the purest form of trust. It's easy to believe when everything makes sense, when doors open effortlessly, when the path ahead is clear. But true faith is forged in the shadows of uncertainty, in the waiting rooms of life, where nothing seems to move, where prayers feel unanswered, and where you can't see how it's going to work out. That's where God does His best work. When you can't trace His hand, you must learn to trust His heart. When everything feels unpredictable, that's when faith becomes your anchor. We live in a world that glorifies control, where people want every step mapped out, every answer visible before they move. But God rarely gives you the full picture. He gives you a promise. He asks you to walk by faith, not by sight. Faith doesn't demand details, it demands dependence. It's the willingness to take the next step, even when you can't see the staircase. It's believing that if God brought you this far, He's not about to abandon you now. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave everything he knew and go to a place He would show him. Abraham didn't have a GPS, a map, or a timeline. He had a word from God, and that was enough. Faith always begins with a word. When God speaks, the direction might not make sense, but His word never fails. Every instruction from heaven carries the power to fulfill itself. You don't need to see how, you just need to believe who said it. There will be moments when your faith is tested to its limits, when your resources dry up, when people walk away and when the vision God gave you seems impossible. In those moments, you'll be tempted to doubt, to retreat, to question if you really heard him right. But those are the moments that separate believers from spectators, the moments that build spiritual muscle. Every trial is a faith gym. God doesn't test your faith to break you, he tests it to build you. When uncertainty hits, the enemy will whisper lies of fear and failure. He'll try to convince you that nothing is changing, that you're forgotten, that your prayers are useless. But faith answers back. I may not see it yet, but I know my God is working behind the scenes. Faith speaks life when everything around you looks lifeless. Faith stands firm when logic tells you to give up. Faith is what turns waiting into worship and pain into purpose. The truth is, faith is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. Courage is not about feeling brave. It's about acting in obedience even while trembling. Every time you choose faith over fear, you're aligning yourself with divine outcomes. Every time you trust God's timing over your own impatience, you're positioning yourself for his perfect will. Faith is what bridges the gap between the promise and the manifestation. You may not know how he'll do it, but you can rest in the assurance that he will. God has never failed one of his promises, and he's not about to start with you. Sometimes the delay is divine. It's not denial, it's development. God is stretching your faith because he's about to expand your capacity for blessing. There's a reason the scripture says, the just shall live by faith. Faith isn't a moment, it's a lifestyle. It's waking up every day and choosing to believe that no matter how uncertain things appear, God is still in control. Even when you can't see the finish line, faith tells you to keep running. Even when the mountain looks immovable, faith tells you to speak to it. Even when the storm rages, faith tells you to sleep in the boat because Jesus is on board. So if you find yourself in a season where nothing makes sense, where all you have is a word from God, hold on to that word like your life depends on it, because it does. Faith doesn't deny reality, it defies it. It says, I know what I see, but I choose to believe what God said. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains, opens doors, and shifts destinies. That's the kind of faith that will carry you through the uncertainty of today into the manifestation of what God has already declared over your tomorrow. Stepping into prophetic purpose requires courage, surrender, and unwavering faith. It's the moment when you stop asking God to bless your plans and start aligning yourself with His. It's when you understand that your life isn't random, that every detour, every delay, every heartbreak, and every victory was a piece of a greater puzzle leading you to divine purpose. You were not created to wander aimlessly. You were created to walk intentionally in destiny. There's a calling that heaven has stamped upon your name, and when God marks you, nothing can erase it. But purpose will always demand a response. It's not enough to know you're called. You must be willing to walk it out. Prophetic purpose means living in the awareness that your life is connected to something eternal, that your obedience today impacts generations tomorrow. You are not just existing, you are part of a divine strategy. God placed you here in this moment in history for a reason. October 2025 is not just about what God will do for you. It's about what he will do through you. Stepping into prophetic purpose often begins in the quiet moments when you feel the tug in your spirit that says, there's more. You may not be able to articulate it, but you know something within you is awakening. That's the Holy Spirit stirring the gifts inside of you, calling you to rise, to move, to act. Too many people wait for perfect conditions to fulfill their calling, but purpose doesn't wait for perfection. It requires participation. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. You might not feel ready. You might look at your life and see brokenness, mistakes, or missed opportunities. But God specializes in using the unlikely to accomplish the impossible. He took a shepherd boy and made him a king. He took a stuttering fugitive and made him a deliverer. He took a teenage girl and made her the mother of the Messiah. The power of prophetic purpose is that it redeems everything that once seemed wasted. Nothing in your life is random, everything is preparation. There will be moments when walking in purpose feels lonely because prophetic people often see ahead of their time. Others may not understand the fire in your spirit or the weight of your assignment, but that's because you're not called to blend in. You're called to break through. When you carry prophetic purpose, you must be willing to move when others stay still, to speak when others remain silent, to believe when others doubt. Your obedience becomes the bridge between heaven's intention and earthly manifestation. Stepping into purpose means releasing control. It means surrendering your timeline and trusting God's. It means saying, Lord, not my will, but yours be done. It means understanding that destiny isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it will stretch you, challenge you, and push you beyond your limits. But that's how you grow into the person who can carry what God has destined for you. Purpose requires pressure because pressure produces power. And when that appointed day arrives, when October 22, 2025 dawns, you will realize that every battle, every tear, every moment of doubt was shaping you into the vessel God could use. You will stand in the middle of what once seemed impossible and say, now I understand this is what it was all for. That's the beauty of prophetic purpose. It gives meaning to your pain and direction to your destiny. So walk boldly into it. Don't shrink back. Don't question your worthiness. If God called you, it's because He already equipped you. Heaven has endorsed your assignment. All of creation is waiting for you to step into who you were created to be. The earth is groaning for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God, and that includes you. You are not waiting for the right moment. The moment is waiting for you to rise. This is your season to say yes. Yes to your calling. Yes to the vision. Yes to the divine plan that has been unfolding quietly behind the scenes. When you step into prophetic purpose, you step into alignment with heaven's agenda. And when heaven and earth agree, miracles are inevitable. You become unstoppable because you're not walking in your own strength. You're walking in divine authority. This is the hour to stop doubting and start declaring, to stop hesitating and start moving, to stop merely surviving and start fulfilling. Because when you walk in prophetic purpose, every step you take is ordered, every word you speak carries power, and every moment becomes sacred. You are stepping into the fullness of destiny, and when you do, nothing will ever be the same again. Beloved, I want you to understand that what God is preparing to do in your life will not resemble anything you've experienced before. This is not an ordinary season, it's a supernatural setup. When heaven declares that something will not be a normal day, it means that everything familiar is about to shift. The ordinary rhythms of life are about to be interrupted by divine power. God is about to rewrite the narrative, not just around you, but within you. The version of yourself that has survived up until now is not the one that will carry you into this next dimension. A transformation is already in motion, and it's being orchestrated by the hand of God Himself. Some of you have felt the stirring in your spirit. You can sense that something is changing. You can't quite put it into words, but you know that you are on the edge of something significant. That feeling is confirmation. Heaven has already initiated the shift. The winds of change are blowing, and your name is on the next wave of breakthrough. Don't dismiss the divine discomfort you've been feeling. It's a signal that you're being elevated. God is stretching you, expanding your capacity, and preparing you for something greater than your imagination could conceive. This next move of God will require you to think differently, to move differently, and to believe differently. You cannot carry the baggage of your past into this new era. You cannot allow fear, doubt, or familiarity to dictate your steps anymore. God is calling you to walk by faith and not by sight. This is the time to silence every voice that contradicts his promise. The enemy will try to convince you that nothing is changing, that you've missed your moment, that your best days are behind you. But those are lies from the pit of hell. God is saying, your best days are just ahead. What I have prepared for you is beyond what you've seen, beyond what you've imagined, and beyond what you've dared to believe. He's rearranging the pieces of your life. What seemed like chaos was actually construction. What you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. The pain you endured wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was working something inside you. You've been in a season of hiddenness because God was refining you, protecting you, and perfecting you for the weight of glory that's about to rest on your life. You're not behind, you're right on schedule. Heaven's calendar is never late. When October 22, 2025 arrives, you will see the manifestation of years of prayers, tears, and faithfulness. The doors that refused to open before will swing wide. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers will return multiplied. The favor that once seemed distant will find you suddenly. There will be divine acceleration. What took others years will happen for you in moments. God is about to redeem lost time. You will look back and realize that every delay was a divine strategy to ensure that when your moment came, you would be fully ready to walk in it. This is not the time to be timid. This is the time to be bold. Speak with authority. Pray with confidence. Move with divine assurance. The same God who spoke worlds into existence is speaking over your life now. He's calling things that are not as though they already are. You are being ushered into divine fulfillment. The prophetic promises that have been hanging in the air are about to find expression in your reality. Do not fear what's coming. Embrace it. The shaking, the shifting, and the stretching are all signs that new glory is about to be revealed. The battle you've been fighting wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to deliver you into the fullness of who you are becoming. You have been tested, tried, and refined, and now God is releasing the reward. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your work is being recognized in places you didn't even know existed. Divine connections are being formed right now. Get ready to witness the extraordinary. This will be the season where the supernatural becomes your new normal. You'll see the hand of God move in ways that defy explanation. You'll experience answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. You'll find yourself walking in blessings you once only dreamed about. When God declares a day as set apart, it's because he intends to do something that will leave no doubt that his hand is upon you. This will not be a normal day because you are not a normal person. You are chosen, anointed, and appointed for such a time as this. Haven has your name on its agenda, and when heaven moves, earth must respond. Get ready because your story is about to shift from waiting to winning, from hoping to having, from believing to becoming. You are stepping into a divine moment where everything changes, and when that day comes, you will know without a shadow of doubt. God kept his promise, and the extraordinary has finally arrived. You have to understand when God marks a day in the spirit, it is not just for something to happen around you, it is for something to happen within you. October 22, 2025 will be the day when your internal alignment matches your divine assignment. All the waiting, the pruning, the refining, it has been leading up to this. God has been dealing with your mindset, your faith, your focus, and your heart because what he's about to release requires maturity. You cannot carry new wine in old wineskins. The capacity of your faith must match the magnitude of your calling. That's why you've been tested, stretched, and even broken in some areas so that you can hold what's about to be poured out. Heaven is not preparing to hand you something light. It's preparing to entrust you with something weighty. This next level of favor, this next level of purpose will demand stability and strength. That's why the pressure has been intense. You've been asking God to remove the weight, but the weight is what's building your spiritual muscles. It's what's teaching you to stand firm when storms come. It's what's developing your endurance for the greatness that lies ahead. Don't mistake the silence of this season for absence. God hasn't been ignoring you. He's been preparing the stage for your unveiling. Just like Joseph had to be hidden in a prison before being revealed in a palace, your hidden season was never meant to bury you. It was meant to prepare you. You've been developed in the dark because when the light of your purpose shines, it must not expose cracks in your foundation. God is making sure that when he elevates you, you won't crumble under the weight of the glory. This is why he had to remove some people. This is why certain doors had to close. This is why some opportunities didn't work out. They weren't rejections, they were redirections. God was aligning you with what is eternal, not what is temporary. Some relationships and environments were too small for where he's taking you. You've outgrown what used to fit because you're stepping into a season of divine expansion. You are not who you used to be. And that's the point. When that day comes, you'll realize that every disappointment was divine direction. Every no was protecting your whys. Every delay was ensuring you'd arrive at destiny's doorstep right on time. You may have thought you missed your moment, but the truth is your moment has been waiting for you to mature. God doesn't release destiny on your timeline. He releases it when your character matches your calling. You are finally becoming the person capable of carrying the promise. So don't shrink back now. This is the moment to rise in boldness. Your faith must move from passive belief to active declaration. Speak the promises of God over your life with authority. Pray like you know heaven is listening. Walk like doors are already open. The atmosphere of your life must shift to match the future you are stepping into. God is saying, I've already gone before you. Now you just need to walk it out. Every prophetic promise has an appointed time, and your time is drawing near. You can feel it in your spirit, the sense that something greater is about to break forth. It's not your imagination. Heaven is aligning circumstances, people, and resources to bring divine fulfillment. Things that were once scattered are coming together. Favor that seemed far away is drawing near. You are moving from preparation into manifestation. On October 22, 2025, something will shift in the atmosphere. You will know it not because of what happens externally, but because of what awakens inside you. Your spirit will come alive with new authority, new confidence, new clarity. You will look around and realize that you have entered a new dimension of grace. Things that once resisted you will now respond to you. The barriers that once blocked you will crumble before you. What seemed impossible will suddenly become inevitable. This is not about luck or coincidence. It's divine orchestration. Heaven has marked you for this moment. God has set his seal upon your life. You are walking into a season where everything begins to make sense, where the pieces fit together, where purpose becomes visible. The years the enemy tried to steal are being restored. The pain that once broke you will become the platform that builds you. This is your time to step fully into who God called you to be, unapologetically, powerfully, and purposefully. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders, fix your eyes on heaven, and declare, I am ready. Because when that day comes, it won't just be the turning of a calendar, it will be the turning of a destiny. God has spoken, and when he speaks, creation responds. Everything that has been out of order will fall into alignment. The heavens will move, the earth will shift, and your life will testify that what God promised, he performed.